Hello everybody and welcome back to another support VOD review. Again, we are not VOD reviewing Kiriko. We're VODing every other support you could possibly play but Kiriko today, so I'm excited. Salt, if you want to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Salt. I'm currently a Plat 3 support player. I've been playing Overwatch for, I think, 5-6 years now.
Sheesh.
Trying to get the diamond.
Yeah, I mean you're in a good place then. You're in a good community to learn about how to get there and support in general. So again, if you have any questions, just let me know. And anyone that might be watching on YouTube, same thing, just leave them down in the comments down below or join the Discord if I don't get to your question right away. But if you're good, I'm good to start just going right through this and picking it apart.
Oh yeah, do your worst.
So I know that you said before we actually started recording that you didn't know what to pick based on the map that you were on, and especially on King of the Hill, because it can get a little bit crazy. And that's definitely a common problem for a lot of people. If you want the easy answer in this meta, just play Kiriko.
Yeah.
But that's boring. So then, in other metas too, when they eventually do hotfix this, because right now, I feel like everyone's just kind of watching Overwatch content, but they're like, man, this game still sucks. Like, I don't want to play this. You're still going to, when they do eventually fix the game, because they inevitably will, you're going to want to know how to think through those kind of things too. So the big thing is, like, you have to identify your hero pool. So you said Zen, Ana, and Bap in this VOD today?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming those are like your primary supports. Like, you're a flex support player, I'm assuming. So realistically, when you're picking from those characters, you have to look at like what you have and what your enemy has. So you don't have this information quite yet. But if it were me right now and I see a Sig, given this meta, I would be like, okay, I'm just gonna play Kiriko because she's the best. But with Sig, I'm not against the Zen pick. I think the Zen pick's fine. If your other support plays something like a Lucio or a Brig, or maybe like an Ana, I could maybe opt in to play a Bat, but the Zen isn't a bad pick. Reason why is that Sigma enables the Zen pick. On top of that, you have 2 hit scans that don't really mind making the fight a little bit slower and getting more value and poking stuff out a little bit more. So playing a slower character like Zen can enable them to also play at their desired tempo. So tempo is like the main thing that really is going to drive what you're picking, especially on these maps. It doesn't necessarily matter what map you're playing on. It more so matters to know how you should be playing with the characters that you're with and against, and then how the map is going to function against that. Because a map can function tons of different ways depending on what composition they have and what composition you have. So before we even go into the VOD review, I'm actually going to demonstrate that right now for you. Because I feel like people struggle with this whole, like the whole how do I play and what do I pick. So for example, if they are running a Brawl composition, and just to clarify for everyone, a Brawl composition is like something like, let's say, a Junker Queen, a Reaper, a very fast composition that wants to get really up close to you and close the distance on you. They are likely to want to play in this room here and just take the fight there. Or they're going to want to take the fight right to point and just brawl it out immediately. Now, this is probably in a Brawl v Brawl scenario, and they're just going to assume you're on Brawl and want to take control of point. That is very different to what they actually have, which is still kind of a Brawly composition, I guess, because they have an Orisa and a Kiriko, which kind of can go together for Brawly stuff. But the main basis of their composition is, okay, we have a Pharmacy and we have a Widow. Like, they're going to want to slow down the fight a little bit more. So that's when you're going to see a team that's probably going to want to be going this way and taking its high ground, because here's the thing. If they think a Brawl core or a Dive core is going to go in the middle, they want to go up top so they can distance themselves from the Brawl. So that's how, like, now that we know that that's kind of like what we could expect and what their core is, then that has to switch how we're going to play. So if we could also want to just play like, hey, if with what we have, we definitely have a spammy composition. Like, sure, we probably are going to want to try to take this high ground, but we also have to understand if they just win that high ground, it's not the end of the world. If they were on Brawl, you definitely want to set your Zen up here and just poke them and try to surround them. But if they're on this Pharmacy comp, it's not necessarily the end of the world if you want to try to play a little bit more Brawly with your Sig and have, like, force the Pharah to come to you on point. That's not the end of the world either. You also don't want to get booped off the map. Like, there's things that you just have to think about before the fight even happens. But it's like a spam versus spam is going to look a lot like, okay, one team's here, one team's here. Poke, 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 poke. A brawl versus a spam is, okay, spam's going to play up here. Brawl is going to try to play below them and then put one person on point and try to get the point before the spam team gets it. Or gets a pick. It's different. Because then if it's brawl versus brawl, they're probably going to want to fight in here. Or they're going to want to fight on point. And the high ground isn't even going to really happen. No one's really even going to take it. But in this situation, it's weird because both teams are going to really want this high ground. And it's really just going to come down to poking things and seeing like what pick we can get first. That's kind of like how I should play based off of it. What I should play is completely dependent on like what characters you have on your team. Or if you're just like, okay, I'm just the best Zen in the world, just pick Zen all the time. Just play what you're good at, I guess. If that's kind of like your strategy. If you feel confident in all three characters, think about what composition is going to activate the character you're good at the most. So if I have a Winston, maybe I want to play Ana so I can nano the Winston and I can just carry that way. If I have a Sigma, maybe I want to play a Zen. But if I already have a Zen player, I can also play BAP. If I'm playing in a brawl and I don't want to play Ana or Zen, I can play BAP. Or I could just play Kiriko because Kiriko's busted right now. Does that kind of help?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of what I used to do on other maps. Just like, okay, what kind of tank do we have? And then pick a support that matches it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely helps. So it's sort of like map independent, and it's more like, okay, well, what's your composition and what kind of playstyle does
what's
it
your
enable?
Composition? What how do you want to play? What's their composition? How do they want to play? How can you win while not letting them do what they want to do to win? It's very basic. It's very basic, but it gets hard when there's a lot of different variables that you've never thought of before. So hopefully as we go through the VOD review, that kind of stuff will come apparent in the macro, but I'm gonna focus a lot more on the micro, on like what you could be doing well on each character and try to give you one tip for each character. But let's get into this. Let's see how this goes. Oh no, I'm excited because I haven't seen a lot of Zen in Overwatch 2, and I don't think he's terrible. I just think that Kiriko and Lucio and Mercy are just so strong that other supports don't really get the spotlight. Once she gets hotfixed, Kiriko that is, I think life gets a lot easier. So you do have a Kiriko, that's good. Your soldier kind of blunders, and here's the problem, right? So like, right off the bat, we're playing a spammier composition, but the whole team, especially lower elos, they don't really understand like, hey, maybe we don't just want to run into them. Maybe team game is not like, let's just stack and have and all play together. That's not always how you play a team game. Because just because you're together doesn't mean you're playing well as a team. Sometimes it's about taking different angles, but effectively together with like good timing. But that's a more macro thing. I just wanted to highlight what we just talked about. And this kind of goes off of you too. Like if they are gonna try to play more brawly on a spammier composition and just give you this high ground for free, like look how much easier it is for you to discord something and find a target here, as opposed to like some really cramped location here.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference there? It's like right here, I'm looking at a Widow, while up here, I can discord the Mercy. I can pressure out the Pharah, because if you pressure out the Pharah, she's going to be in a really weird spot. So it denies her from taking anything in the skybox. So just some things to think about. But yeah, now we're here. We're backing off a little bit. So it's not the end of the world because you don't play this horribly. But your team does like to brawl this here. It's a little bit odd.
Well, I mean, it's lower elos.
Yeah. Okay. That was good. That pick right there was good. Now there's something I'm nitpicking here, but I think, and I'm not going to go back because I'm sure this is going to continue to happen. There will be instances in which you are being just a little too passive on Zen because the fight was already like, you already have an advantage and you just take advantage of it. Like you have, like you had a pick, your Cassidy had a pick on the Mercy and it was a 5v4. Your Sig is now full health. That's one of those moments where you can be like, okay, it's time that I can W key with my team. Like, I'm not going to die anymore. I need to kill them before they can maybe find something on me. You don't always have to be super passive and spammy on Zen. And it's kind of this thing that people never really figured out in the Zen Brig composition in Overwatch 1. Zen was not meant to be a little scaredy cat. Trying not to get, any explicit. He doesn't want to be a scaredy cat. He wants to sometimes get in there and get the job done with his team. It was a lot easier in Overwatch 1 because he had Brigitte, but now she's not as strong and isn't like a sentinel. But there are times in which it's green light. It's not as often, but like, dude, you have the aim to do it. You just got 2 picks. You just have to like walk in when you get the opportunity to. So maybe it's not necessarily your micro, your aim or like your ability usage, but maybe like an understanding of like how the game is flowing.
Yeah, sort of like here, when to pick your moment to be more aggressive.
Like for example, right here, like you have a pick. You actually have 3 picks because you already found 2. Unless you're trying to rotate to get this high ground, you shouldn't really be stable on point. You should be thinking like, where am I going to want to play this next fight? Or do I maybe want to take advantage of something more here? Because right here, there's so much opportunity to find a pick here. Or maybe kill something before the Reaper kills something to pressure him out more. Like that, you could have done that so that your soldier would have been alive maybe if you were just in a more aggressive position. And I think your whole team should be more aggressive right here and be trying to poke them out. But you do have to somewhat play off of what your team's giving you at this rank, so I understand that. Right here is just a lot of idling by. We could be using this time to either be aggressive with the Sig in the front line or maybe just taking that high ground. And let's see what this angle would be giving you right now if you're playing from this angle. If you jump up on here, yeah, you could probably find a pick on Kuriko. You could definitely get your Trank before they actually take the fight with whatever they want to take the fight with. There's a lot of opportunity you're missing out on here. And that's something that's really big to get better at, especially at these ranks, because realistically, you should be able to carry most games in these ranks. I know a lot of people complain, but it's like, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong here, but there's just more you could be doing right. There's more you could be doing to carry.
Well, that's good to hear.
It's like one of these moments here, it's like, okay, we have Kitsune Rush, we just fluxed. We can maybe look to be a little bit more aggressive here instead of just sitting around and like waiting for something to happen. Because like all you need to do is like charge the right click, look over here, maybe you find a pick on Hanzo. It's a very small thing to switch, but the problem is by sitting here because you're like, oh, what's going on? They're not walking into me. You just kind of like start dying because then the Kitsune Rush is going to run out by the time that you start actually doing things.
Yeah.
Because now the Kitsune Rush is running out, and now you're like, wait, now they're going to push? That's weird. Well, it's because they waited out the Kitsune. This was just a rotational problem. Yeah, you already know this. I don't know if I don't necessarily disagree with it either, actually. I'm not going to go into that.
And this is sort of where it falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, you do end up shooting the Orisa a lot, which isn't my favorite thing for people to be doing in Overwatch 2, just because she doesn't die. But I think it's more so just because of your positioning and lack of, like, getting more done in the mid-fight.
Yeah.
It's or not mid-fight, in between fights. There's just a lot of missed opportunities that you had. You could have gotten a lot more done. Like here again, it's like you probably could have poked out that Orisa so she would have been half health much sooner. Because you have to realize, like, the map gives you this long sight line. And you don't want them to brawl onto you. You want to get as much done before they can get on top of you. And they have a Reaper Ashe. Like, in a Moira 2, they're much more leaning towards brawl now. Like, you can really take advantage of these long sight lines. Or maybe forcing them up here. Because if you're shooting Orisa all game, what that tells me isn't that you're making the conscious decision to shoot Orisa. It's that that's the only thing that you can shoot. Because I don't think you're at a level in which you're like, oh yeah, I need to shoot the Orisa right now. It's more so like, okay, there's an Orisa in my face. That's what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. That's not a bad thing. I mean, like, that's a very high-level mistake. A lot of people do make that mistake. But okay, now we're on Ana. I think with Zen, it's more so in the in-between fight. Because, like, here's the thing. You were still hitting great shots. You're getting Discord out, like, efficiently and effectively. The thing is, it's hard to see, like, oh, target priority on Discord. I can't really teach you that unless it's like, okay, now I'm in a better spot to have more targets in order to choose from to Discord. It seemed like you only really had the option to Discord Orisa, and it was because we were so passive. Being more aggressive on Zen probably gets you to be a little bit better. Now, let's see how you play Ana into a Kiriko. I just released a video today about this. If you haven't watched it, we're going to talk about it. It's like a 4-minute video. We'll talk about the matchup, and this is why I really dislike Ana. But do you have any questions about Zen before we keep going?
No. Well, like my Discord priority normally is just, okay, what I'm shooting at, that's the stuff that I'm Discording. I don't know if that's the smartest move to do in most cases. Well, the
thing is that I think the reason
like
why that is because of the positions that we always set ourselves in, and we haven't gotten to a point where we're thinking like, okay, I have time to rotate to a high ground. I have time to get to a more advantageous position. Where should I be shooting? Where do I get a lot of uptime? And we haven't thought about that. I don't think you've had a lot of options, because if you continuously played like that when Orisa is meta, you were always going to be discording Orisa. Like 99% of the time, you're going to be discording Orisa the way you've currently been playing.
Yeah.
But let's say we were playing Zen now. It's like, I feel like if you want to fight, you as Zen probably would have just stayed here and waited for people to walk in. Instead of being like, okay, my team wants to play high ground. I want to be high ground. And now I have more options. Or maybe I want to poke here while they walk through on like this slow staircase and then rotate up here. And now their team is trapped in this little circle here at half health because I did a lot of damage. Or maybe I started here. They walk left, and now I rotate to high ground, and now I can see in their backline easier. It's easier to get better at discording when you have more options too, because then you can learn from it more.
Okay.
So that's a little hard to fix, but I do want to look at other characters to see if there's anything more concrete I can give you. Because your mechanics didn't seem that bad.
Understood.
Like, it seems like you're comfortable playing this game, and that would make sense because you played this game for 6 years. But Ana is where things are going to change, because Ana doesn't function all that much the same. That's an okay sleep attempt. The fight's already won, so it's not the worst anti. Right now, it's like one of those positions where like now you're starting to be more aggressive. I would want to see this on Zen, where it's like, I have 2 picks. My team is going in. I need to walk in. And even in this situation, you could have walked in a little harder and been a little bit more active after you had that advantage and really pushing for it. It's just recognizing that and then playing off of it. It seems to me like the main problem you're having is that you're just scared because you're playing support, and the whole thing with support is don't die. So you need to do something with the life.
Yeah, I mean, my Overwatch 1 playstyle was pretty much, hang back, die last, and make sure you stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, that whole idea was started with Jane. He made a video. He was like, yeah, supports, if you want to rank up out of gold, just don't die. Just don't die. That's all I need to do. That's not how it works. Because if I'm sitting in spawn, I'm not dying, but I ain't doing jack. I'm doing nothing. Yeah. I'm sitting in spawn. So you have to make sure that you're actively contributing to the team in a safe place. I would argue die more and learn when you push too much, and just then improve off of that. But I don't like this nade at all. Here's the thing. When you climb, like, here's the thing. Was it the right call for this Kiriko to Suzu the Hog?
No.
Why not?
Because there's no immediate danger.
There's no immediate danger. The dude's fine. That anti-nade did nothing to him. He's not going to get pushed on. He's full health. He has vape. If you throw nades in this situation, that gives them 10 seconds to rotate here with Suzu. And you just gave them nade for nothing. You lost that cooldown. It's annoying, but you have to think about it a little harder than, okay, I found nade, throw it. Now, if this was before in Overwatch 1, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, good nade. You forced him back a little bit. You wasted some of their time. Now it's like, dude, sorry, man. You had to do some. That was calculus too. You need to do some like derivative, crazy linear algebra stuff now, dude. Like you got to do harder calculations than that now. You can't just throw it. Because before it was still hard. Now it's even harder. So I do want to say, I like how you're aggressive with nades. You have to add in the, do they have a Kiriko question into your head? Because now you don't have nade. They should still have Suzu, and that was positional. Whatever. Let's keep going. Do you have any? Again, if you have any questions, just interrupt me.
No. So far, no questions.
Here comes Hog. I probably would have gone for the sleep first, but I don't mind this nade. Reason being, your team realistically will be able to follow up on this, and this will force out Suzu. The problem is that your teammates didn't think about the next step in the sequence, which is, okay, I antied the Hog, then it gets Suzu, then we have to wait, and then we can push it. That's why I don't like playing Ana right now, because everyone needs to learn it a little harder. The people that say Ana is meta, they're smoking crack. They're off the Zaza. I think Ana's decent, but I think that is...
I've actually found it easier to climb on Zen than on Ana.
I could see that. I could see that, because so many people are playing Kiriko. And you have to think harder on Ana to carry even harder. I think you could carry harder on Ana, but you have to think a lot. It's very difficult. I think in this elo, though, Ana probably is one of the best characters to climb with, if not the best. But Zeno's also fine if you're just comfortable on Zen. And it looks like you were, because you could just kill everything. You just need to be more aggressive. So right here, you're still playing with your team. I don't know. This isn't terrible. This isn't terrible. You're just playing with what you got. You got Nano. Let's see who you Nano.
Messed up the nade.
That's a good sleep. It's a weird Kitsune rush. That's just a positional thing again. I don't know if I can really flame you for that. Your Sig's trying to play for a brawl, and you already are down one. I think the more important thing that you should focus on is really just thinking about nades more. That's like the main thing I'm seeing here. Looking at nades and how that is now impacted because Kiriko exists. And also, when is it time to be more aggressive and when is it time to be more passive? Like, they have a pick now. We're going to probably be trying to receive the fight unless I have an ultimate that I'm going to use to sway it. Yep, I'm okay with that, Nano. Because he's, like, immediately activated. You sleep the Bob here. Yeah, I don't agree with that sleep, but...
I completely missed. I think I forgot that the Bob was there.
Yeah, you're good. That's an okay nade. Because you heal your team. This seems to just be team moments. Maybe because we also missed the thing. We missed the sleep dart. We also had a lot of ults though, so now we're just chilling for next fight. Wasted nade. I know it's in the in between fights, but you never know what you might need it for.
Well, especially if they like run a Genji or something, yeah. Then I'm less aggressive with the nades, just to have like a backup heal in case I get dove in between fights.
Your positioning is also just very exposed. I feel like do you play a lot of Ana? Or do you? I feel like you look like you're more comfortable in Zen than you are on Ana.
Yeah, I mean Zen is my most played hero,
yeah.
And after that it's Ana. So, but it's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is like positioning is like the number one thing you probably are struggling the most with, and that's just be like right here. It's like the Ashe is on high ground. She's poking me. I'm kind of standing in the open, but I think it's not like, oh, I need to look for people on the high ground more. It's deeper than that. It's like I need to understand where am I going to expect this person to be, and then how am I going to counter that? I don't think it's as simple as, oh, lol, there was a hit scan on the high ground, play around corners. I feel like if you knew that situation, you could think through that yourself. You're not stupid. Obviously, you're not. You're not playing terribly. I think it was just like, okay, they're playing now a more pokey or like a pokey composition. They have an Ashe. She's probably going to be posted up on high ground. Let's check if she is. If she isn't, I can take advantage of that. Oh no, it's a much deeper understanding. I know I've been referencing chess a lot, but it's like on the channel a lot for VOD views. But if you've ever played chess, it's like realizing what opening this person is about to play and then playing moves because you know what they're about to play is different than I see the move and now I react to it. Like, you could still play to react, but you're not going to have as efficient of results when they play something you've never seen before and you're, like, not ready for it.
Hey, you sort of want to dictate the game and not be dictated the game.
Because, it's like, okay, I'm going to, like, I'm going to I'll do X move. And if they're up here, then I do, like, X move, or I could do X move. But if they're not up here, you can't just be like, wait, they're not up there? Well, then now what I do? Because if they're not up there, it's a mistake. It's a blunder. How do I take advantage of the blunder and win the game? Like, that's what Gold is. Because I feel like there's a lot of really smart players in Gold, but they haven't developed that idea of, wait, this person's trolling. I need to carry. Or, like, I got a pick in the fight. I can walk in and kill 4 so that they don't have a chance. Or, okay, they're actually playing high ground. I don't want to blunder and just walk main, even though, like, I'm not used to that. To them taking high ground. Like, sometimes you even get used to the mistakes. It's all about just thinking and like understanding what you have to react to. Excuse me, before you have to react. I hope that makes sense. It seems a little bit of like placebo, like weird science, pseudoscience, whatever it's called. But it's real. It's real. So for Ana, I would just say, like, I would review the nades in terms of like the Kiriko matchup and make sure you're not just throwing them whenever. But still, the number one thing is, how am I going to place myself based on what I have and what they have, and how we are playing against how they are playing? Because even if you play by the book, aka you play 100% correctly what is the quote-unquote right way to play, in Gold, they're not going to play the right way. So you need, and your team too isn't going to play the right way. You have to kind of think about what to think about before it happens.
Yeah.
So I wasn't against the Ana pick last map. Because it's Anakiri meta is okay. But if you're more comfortable in Zen, I think Zen on that map is probably better than the first map you played. But that's all subjective and based on what they have. I probably would have... when I have a Lucio, so I'm okay that you switch to the Baptiste if you have a Sig. It's just weird. I don't know why your team's playing Mystery Heroes. You probably lose this game because of that. But because of what they have a Ball Tracer. I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of Baptiste. This is one of those moments where Kiriko's even better. Or just playing like Moira. Moira is also decent.
I just hate heal botting.
Yeah, and then don't play this character.
Don't like Moira.
Yeah, don't play Moira and Kiriko then if you don't like heal botting. Just play Ana. In this situation, I think Ana would be decent. Just because you can at least sleep the ball and you can 2-shot Tracer now, which is a weird quality of life thing, I guess. It's not really going to be all that applicable, but you can 2-shot Tracer if she has terrible movement. But the higher you go, that's just not going to happen consistently. It's just, you know. You could have already 2-shot Tracer just with a nade involved, but now you can just do it on your own. Okay. Are we good to keep going?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. The COVID vaccine's starting to get to me. I want to make sure I don't pass out here. Oh, now you have an Ana. Interesting. Now they have a Hog. I guess null and void everything I said. I think BAP is better here now that they don't have a ball. It's easier to live. Like you can advocate it for a little more, bit more. Here you're probably just gonna make mistakes with the immortality field, but resource management as well. I don't want to say anything specific yet, but there are like a lot of small problems. I like how you're being more aggressive with damage. So like the thing is in this hog meta, make sure you're always aware of like what the hog is hooking, and if it's a squishy that's important, you can always Suzu or how I just said Suzu.
Lamp.
You can lamp it. Don't waste shift.
Dollar store Suzu.
Don't waste resources, but I think we're gonna have a little bit more of apparent problems to talk about in the next fight.
Okay. Is it because of window?
No, it's just because that first fight was very weird, the way your team took it. Right now, I still don't love the positioning. Because what you have to understand with BAP's fall off is the Pythagorean theorem. You're aiming on a hypotenuse of the triangle right now, which makes it more distance. So you're actually going to run into fall off a lot more, even if you feel like you shouldn't run into fall off. Like you're probably going to run off to fall off in this part of the hypothetical triangle. And these two lines, like this line is, it seems like you're the same distance away from in terms of like where you're starting, but this line is significantly shorter than that line.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for hard damage, being up top here is not great, especially if your team's going to try to play up here. Like you don't want to be all the way back here. You want to be with them here, especially on Baptiste, because he is like a brawly support now. He can be pokey, but no matter what, he's gonna want to stay close to his team. I do like how you do more damage, though. You're not wasting resources too much. This is a very selfish window, though, when the fight hasn't even started yet. And it's just a very weird angle. Okay, that Moira's terrible.
Yeah, but I get punished.
But, like, yeah, you shouldn't really be windowing up here when the fight hasn't really started yet. I don't like that window. I think I think positioning is probably your #1 problem. But I don't... It's so hard to really get better at positioning because people just can tell you, yeah, just get better at it, but it's a thought process thing. It's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. It's fluid. And I hope what I'm telling you is helping you here. But I'm not getting the best instances of how to help.
Oh, I mean, I think it's not only positioning, it's more aggressive positioning. At least it was on Zen. With Ana, it was more like, okay, well, what's the most opportune position in this case? I think with Bab, like, I don't see him as like a brawly support, but yeah, he does. If you think about it.
He can be brawly, he can be spammy, he isn't dive at all. It really depends on what you're playing against. And like right here, if your team's posting up right here and they're like, you can poke them this whole time that they're walking in. You can just get damage done. No matter what, you're going to want to play him next to your team. You don't want to get caught out alone. It's like the #1 thing. That fight that we just watched, it was unlucky because, I mean, they had like 3 ultimates.
But I think also on this map, I'm playing it too safe.
Yeah, playing safe, it lets the enemy kind of walk into you and put you in a really bad position. Yep, I like how you're being aggressive. You notice the Sigma is setting up your team and you walk in to take advantage of it. You just need to notice other ways to do it when it's not an ultimate in your face.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we poked out the Roadhog enough that he's half health and he doesn't have a Suzu or a Vape. I can be more aggressive here and try to take advantage of that, or at least like go into a more aggressive position to get more ult charge or to pressure them even harder. There's a lot of different options you have. You just need to actually take those options. Right here, it's just like we're kind of overexposed. And I'd rather see our whole team more aggressive on different high ground. Right there, just a note is just make sure that you try to get your immortality fields behind corners. Just get into the habit of it so they don't break. Even when it's a panic immo, like just getting it there. Again, positional problem. It's easier for them to take advantage of you because we're so exposed. We eventually do go to a better position, and now we're infinitely more safe and can get more value a lot easier. But this seems just like a lost fight because they popped more ults. That's a good MO. I'm okay with that. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. And then we're probably lost the game after that fight, haven't we?
Yeah.
Baptiste is probably just going to be ammo placement and still just positioning. It's like your aim isn't bad. Your aim's honestly pretty dang good for your rank. It seems like it's worthy of diamond at the very least, if that's what we really have to talk about. It's like you're definitely at least diamond. Let me break out paint though real quick. Flashbang. But if I were to give you notes, the thing is positioning. I can be like, yo, I'm making a video on that. And I have been making a video on this dynamic positioning idea. It's probably going to end up being at least an hour long. And it's going to take a very long time to talk about all these things and get it out. Which is why I'm not even going to start. I'm going to just stop saying that it's going to be out soon, chat. Because quite frankly, it's not going to be out soon. It's going to take me a long time, but I can't wait to get that video done. But we have actually gotten a good bit done. It's getting there. It's going to take some time, but we're getting there. The number one thing is, I'm just going to say the blanket term of positioning. Positioning with a dot. And it's understanding those moments where we can be more aggressive, or understanding like, hey, they're going to want to just run me down. I'm going to play on high ground, so they have to run farther. Or they're going to try to run me down. We just won the fight. There's a huge line of space that I can spam them from, and they can't do anything to me. They have to walk through me spamming them. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do this. Sit on point and let them have the easiest route to me to just walk on me for free. I'm not going to let them do that to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Like Zen, for example. Okay, they have an Orisa Reaper. They cannot do anything to me in the long, straight line that the Oasis University gives me to poke them. I'm going to take advantage of that and try to poke them as much as possible before they can just collapse on me on point. I'm not going to sit on point and let them do that to me for free. And if I don't want to poke that long straightaway because my team isn't going up and trying to help me poke that straightaway, what am I going to do instead? I'm not going to sit on point and let them walk on me. I'm going to be redundant. I'm not going to let them do that. I'm going to stand on high ground and force them to at least force me off high ground first and see if my team can get a kill while they're rotating to me on the high ground. Because in gold and plat, they are bound to mess up that rotation. They're bound to. They're bound to. There's so many new players that they're going to make those mistakes that people shouldn't be making. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For Zen, at least. For Ana, it's like you had some of that aggression. It was more so the map. Like, Oasis is a hard map. I can't lie to you. Like, that's a difficult map to position off of. It's more so thinking about what you need to be looking for. Was it your team's mistake for just always walking in main? Yes. They probably should have walked through hookah and just forced them off the high ground. I'm not gonna say that that's not a fault. A fault that's even more, like, that's even worse than where we were going with that originally was their Ashe is on high ground. I'm going to sit in the middle of this choke and let her shoot me. No. Yeah. Instead, I'm going to not let her do what she wants to do. I'm going to sit in the corner. I'm going to quick scope poke her so she takes some damage and has to rethink that angle. And in that time, my team will not take the damage from that Ashe and instead be given some more healing from me while they take the actual fight. On top of that, the nade matchup against Kiriko. And just the nade in general. I'm not going to throw... Wow, that was a weird E. Nade. In general. I'm not going to throw the nade when my teammates cannot follow up on it. I am not going to do that. That's a big thing to make sure you're not doing. Because even then, you were like yucking nades, and then you're like, oh, well, I'll have it back by the time the fight starts. The thing is, the fight starts, and you're still 4 seconds away from nade. So it's almost... You're almost too aggressive with it. I don't want to say that. Your aggression is good. It's just the timing of it is the wrong part. I do like how aggressive you are.
I think it's not deliberate enough.
Yes. And now that you have an idea of what makes it deliberate, I think you'll have a much easier time. Because the number one problem players have is that they don't know what they're doing wrong. And the moment that they can learn thought processes to learn how to do something right is the moment they can actually improve because they have a basis of information. In my opinion, I feel like that's the problem you have. It's like, okay, the Ashel's on high ground, but what else do I do? Like, I just lose. That's kind of what it looked like. And you can attest that whether or not that's right or wrong. We can talk about that for a long time. That's just what I saw. Personally.
I think that's a perspective I can agree on.
The last thing I'm going to say is, I'm just going to say IMO and make sure it's around walls. A lot of the stuff I saw, it was really hard because I only saw like maybe 3 minutes of each character, and it was all on like different weird Oasis maps that are just hard. But the thing that you shared between all of those characters was a lack of understanding of like how different characters change the game. Understanding that, okay, something might be wrong, but then how do I play off of it? Or how do I aggress onto it to take advantage of it being wrong? And it's about being confident and not being shy. There's a difference between being safe and shy. And I feel like a lot of coaching content in the past has urged players to play shy. You don't want to play shy. You want to play safe, aggressively safe. And sometimes the only way to stay safe is to be aggressive. I didn't mean to say that as a cheerleader, like be aggressive, be aggressive, but that's just how it came out. So, do you have any questions about this right now? It's okay if you don't.
Nah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of like I didn't know what I knew I was doing something wrong, just didn't know what, and then also how to fix it. I had a hunch it was due to my positioning, which is, well, it became very apparent, I think, in this VOD, that it's the number one thing I think to work on, across all supports for me, I think.
I think it's something everyone, specifically support players, I think support is one of the hardest roles to position on. It's not very clear cut. It's fluid. I think now that you have a basis of an understanding of what you need to be thinking about, it'll help you out a lot. And again, the video will help everyone so much, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore because it's just going to take so long to make. But I'm excited. Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
And we can continue talking after we finish the VOD. But hey, if you on YouTube just watch some random dude scream at a monitor again for 43 minutes and you're not subscribed, maybe you should consider consider doing so, considering the game has kind of been dying and all of us content creators have been struggling a little bit because October was great and December was terrible and January might just get a little bit worse. So I'd really appreciate that. If you already are subscribed and you already watch this, you know what? Hats off to you. You're a real one. And everyone that's not subscribed, you could be a real one, just like the people that are subscribed watching this portion. It just takes one press of a button. Thanks. Also, be on the lookout for other stuff for Overwatch. I haven't played it a whole lot, but I know a patch is incoming, so I might be coming back and putting up those gameplay videos. I'm not sure, but if the meta gets better and I start enjoying myself, I promise those things will come out much more consistently. I'm sorry they haven't come out recently. I've been enjoying myself playing other games, which is on the Paz Plays channel. If you're interested in seeing those things, they'll be going up soon. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Hopefully that patch is good. Stay awesome. Stay healthy. Stay grinding. Keep yourself safe. Yeah. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.